30-day trial, head over to netflix.com/GamebreakerTV. Now, Blizzard posted the following announcement late last night about the PvP season ending. So the important question is, does this mean we know the patch 5.2 release date? So the blog said the following: Arena and Rated Battlegrounds Season 12 is scheduled to end on Tuesday, March 5th. At this point, we will determine who is eligible for end-of-season rewards, a process that should take approximately 1 week. Snip, 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 snip. We're skipping ahead to the interesting bits about the release date. The next Arena and Rated Battlegrounds season will begin approximately 1 week after the current season ends. During the break between seasons, all Rated Battleground and Arena matches will be unavailable. Team and personal ratings will be reset when Season 13 begins. Obviously, as a PvPer, this entire announcement is interesting, but the sections which I've highlighted in bold in the article below, so the scheduled end and also the beginning of the next season, are the ones that are applicable to everyone. So Blizzard community rep Bashiok tweeted the following a while back. He said that 5.2 date is still not confirmed, but when you see the end of season PvP blog, it's a slightly more solid 2-week warning, and he was backed up by the official Warcraft Twitter saying, we haven't announced the date, the end of PvP season blog is usually a good 2-week mark. So taking all of that into account, it looks pretty darn likely that the patch will arrive on March 5th, although do bear in mind that this is absolutely not set in stone. They have always, previously it has been very much the case that the patch has dropped on the same date as the PvP season ends, but there have been occasions when it hasn't been exactly the same. So moving on from the release date, from a PvP perspective, what do you need to do to prepare for the patch? We spoke about this in last week's Legendary, and we've actually already posted and indeed amended a guide to preparing for patch 5.2's release as a PvE focused player. But what about my fellow PvPers? What should you be doing? You should be spending your conquests on upgrades. There's kind of a funky gear changeover with this season end because the upgrade vendor disappears, and obviously conquest is still being converted down to honor. So your fully upgraded current conquest gear will be superior to the patch 5.2 honor gear. So both of those are the malevolent gear, but obviously with patch 5.2 it becomes honor gear. The item level of the malevolent gear is also being dropped to 476 when the season changeover happens, when the patch drops. So it's actually lower item level than the current malevolent gear. But PvP power and PvP resilience are being buffed on that gear to compensate. Essentially, what they're doing is trying to stop people being able to get straight into the raid finder just by buying honor gear. So that's what's happening there. So what should you be spending your conquest on? Number 1, upgrades. Number 2, tier 2 weapons. If you're eligible for those, they are a no-brainer if you don't have them already. If you've been eligible for a while and you haven't bought them yet, probably should have done that by now. But obviously if you're just become eligible, if you're recently becoming eligible, then those are the things to spend your conquest on if you don't have them already. And if you do have them, upgrade them, because tier 2 is being effectively removed with patch 5.2 as the rating requirements disappear. And these weapons, especially if you're able to upgrade them, will be the best available for some time for PvP until you're able to sort of get the new conquest weapons. But obviously there's a points requirement on those, so that'll be a little while. And if you are in title range, if you think you're in the rating range for any of the titles, of the 4 set levels of title available, don't leave your team, don't leave your faction, don't leave your server. All of these things can mean that you won't actually end up with a title that you should have got. So be really careful. Just if you think you're in title range for any title, just don't change a thing, just stay put. And obviously if you're looking at joining new teams to get titles, you might be too late now because there is a percentage played requirement on matches to get into title range. What else is happening? Team and personal rating are being wiped, but MMR will remain. Now this kind of could be a blessing or a curse with the bit of much of a shambles that's been season 12, but Ghostcrawler has previously asserted that resetting MMR does more harm than good. What is your take on this? I'm so undecided. I can totally see for people who are starting out in PvP that resetting MMR is gonna make the first few weeks of the next season completely crazy. But on the other hand, people who are sitting at a high MMR at the moment, thanks to playing some Flavour of the Month classes, particularly towards the beginning beginning of the patch, PvP, Beast Mastery Hunters, they could be sitting at an artificially elevated MMR. But if they're unskilled people, then they'll go back down again. I don't know. What do you think about this? And of course, guys, you know, do bear in mind all of this advice and look forward to the patch launching on the 5th of March. As always, we'll be keeping you updated, so do keep it locked and dialed to Gamebreaker TV for all your gaming needs.